So I decided to get around to checking out Girlish Number, since I've been using Chitose for reactions for a long while now. And I have to say, to my surprise from a slice-of-life comedy show about a shallow girl trying to make it in the Seiyu world, that's voice acting for you normies out there, that this show is absolutely awful. Let's just hold on that provocative line for dramatic effect for a second. Alright, it's awful in all the right ways, meaning intentionally. The show itself, that being the animation, acting, and plot, isn't awful by any stretch. I found myself oddly captivated with it and the characters. What I mean is awful is the message the series conveys, particularly concerning the anime industry as a whole. So I thought it might be interesting to talk about that for a bit. It's rare to see such a pessimistic take on the production side of anime. It's easy for us, as viewers, to forget that there is such a thing as schedules, man-hours, and people behind these shows pouring their blood, sweat, and sanity into their work on a weekly basis. That's easy to sympathize with. But more than that, there's companies out to make a profit off each and every anime they produce. We're juxtaposed with the brutality of the production world, where creators, staff, and executives clash. Following the production of a fictional series, one that would easily be roasted online by YouTubers like myself for low production quality, terrible voice acting, and a shitty story, we see the politics of an industry out to make money, particularly concerning Chitose's role as the lead heroine. She's only had background roles her entire career up to that point, and is picked not because of her talent or ability, but simply on a whim of a fickle producer looking to launch a Seiyu idol career in music. That's soul-crushing when you think about it, as someone's dream to make it big as a voice actor is offhandedly chosen based purely on looks and simply because she happened to bump into the right guy at an after-party. It's pure business from the start. An actor's self-worth is inflated, boosted to a position she's woefully unprepared for, and smacked with the realization that it's not all glamorous. Expecting this to be a launching pad for her career turns out to not be the case, as she kinda sucks. For as much as I try to talk about voice actors and how their performances are in my reviews, their presence is entirely invisible to the Western audience. Subs or dubs, viewers rarely think about the person delivering lines. How many takes did it take? How much research did they pour into the character? How much effort did they put into delivering the right inflection or tone so the animation and story is effectively bought by those watching? How often do you, as a viewer, notice an actor outside of recognizing their voice and saying, "Hey, he did this other character I liked"? It can be a nearly thankless job, which is why seeing it portrayed here stuck out to me. Anime is an industry that chews up talent and spits out the occasional star. And that's not the only casualty of the production process. Original authors, be it manga or light novel writers, find themselves having their stories tweaked and worked over. A creator who poured their life and soul, or pissed away their life in the case of something like Sword Art Online, into making something people would read and enjoy. It's a dream come true for them when they hear their work is going to be adapted into an anime. But then they see the character designs which are off from their original vision, or the style is completely off, looking too cute or rough for the feel of their work. But with pressure from studios and production companies, they slowly give in, with their work being bastardized into a plain, marketable product shelled out the door for some quick sales. Abused and heartbroken over their life's work being represented so poorly in a format that will most likely overshadow their original media. And that's only one side of anime we rarely consider. The people producing anime, the writers, animators, and even seiyus to some extent, like anime itself. They grew up watching it and are fans of varying degrees. But the executives, the people making the calls and funding this, honestly don't care about the shows themselves. They're a means to a cynically capitalistic ends. Either the show does well and sells enough Blu-rays or merch to justify its initial cost, before it loses the company money. And when that happens, there will be leeches using the show's budget for their own ends. Like taking vacations thinly veiled as business trips, or taking the cast out to expensive after-parties with copious amounts of drinking, and writing that off as part of the production budget. Is this show being made because the studio has faith in the source material? Or is it being made as a launching platform for the next business venture, only needing to do well enough to stick in people's minds? Look at something like Idolmaster, which has since spun out into a massively successful franchise well beyond the scope of the original game it was based on. So where does Girlish Number fit in this whole dynamic? And what does it have to say about it? Well, for an anime depicting the shallow and fickle nature of the anime industry, which really took some balls, let's be honest, it highlights a lot of these behaviors. We see struggling seiyuu newbies who haven't had a break, wondering if they should quit until they get a chance, only to struggle in their breakout role. Shallow girls who only care about appearances and popularity, flailing while those who do care about their craft drown in depression. We see a creator in anguish over his anime adaptation, with blatantly cut corners in an effort to get a series out the door in a vain plot to launch some singing seiyuu idol careers. And a production mired by overworked staff crushed under the weight of their own workload and bosses' unreasonable and absurdly silly demands, all while those bosses laugh and party like nothing matters. And when the product finally makes it out of the industry's bowels, we see fans tearing it apart on chan boards, trash-talking seiyus, and the impact from those actions is made personal by focusing on the seiyu's perspective. And that's downright depressing when you think about it in depth. That what we, as fans, like, isn't just what we consume. That is to say, it's not just the shows we watch each season, talk about, buy merch for, and move on. There's people behind it. And some downright disgusting business practices motivating the entire industry, spurring it forward down a disgustingly capitalistic cycle fed on human dreams. And this whole thing is the backdrop of a sweet slice of life show with a group of girls who aren't particularly likable, coming together and becoming friends in a vapid industry. Blunt and disgusting personalities that somehow find likable qualities in the group. There's some sweet interactions as we watch the group of girls learn more about one another, identify with each other, and feel for their struggles. And I find myself identifying as well, which hits home the message about those behind the scenes. Which is only compounded when we see that the people who enjoy working on a project, and when the staff wants it to succeed, a series can regain an audience. And while that's sweet, I often found myself disgusted while watching this show. Not by the characters, but anime itself. With myself, for being party to it. Girlish Number isn't what's wrong with the anime industry. It's telling us what's wrong with it. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and do all the other YouTube stuff because that really helps me out. Thanks for watching.